Yeah.
Hello everyone, a very good morning. Today we have Mr. Ross with us all the way from Singapore. Sir, with your permission, I would like to introduce Adore family to you. Adore is a voluntary network of students and young professionals where we conduct activities that motivate youth towards positive action. We have several programs where we connect to schools and university students, corporates, senior citizens, eminent personalities, and many more. Today we have Mr. Ross Swan amongst us. Mr. Ross is a perceptive, responsive, and accessible consultant, coach, and trainer with broad experience in varied industries worldwide, including financial services, construction, energy, logistics, distribution, retail, engineering, and hospitality, airlines, and manufacturing. Mr. Ross is also a dynamic speaker with outstanding skills in leadership, communication, presentation, training, team building, and interpersonal relations. He works internationally, spanning a variety of industries around the globe, from an energy giant refinery in his Australian homeland to the largest local bank in Singapore. His projects in Singapore, where he is mainly based, encompass diverse cultural backgrounds. Mr. Ross co-founded Soul Inspired Leadership in 2017 to place more of emphasis leaders leading from within. Being soul inspired and leading with a purpose is not only important for people in a leadership role, but also critical for individuals to be leading themselves through life's journey and not to be a reflection of what others want them to be. We welcome you, sir, to this platform and looking forward to an educative session from you.
Thank you, Akash, and I'm quite honoured to be here. Looking on my Zoom, seeing a whole pile of eyes, ears, and faces staring at me, which is very good. And I'm so happy to be here. To be honest, it's good to help young leaders or future young leaders. And I know I'd say the fact you're young leaders already. The mere fact of doing what you're doing is showing leadership. So more than happy to be here to help. At some point, Akash, if you could take a screenshot of everyone when everyone gets on, or towards the end, whenever ask everyone to go on, take a screenshot, then I can shoot that out later on and help you get a bit of publicity for what you're doing. So I'm more than happy to do that. Okay, now to the topic. Is that coming through clear? Everyone can. I'm hoping it's all. Everyone seems to be saying it is. That's good. Now, self-leadership. What I might do, I'll just share the screen. So, the topic there, as I said, self-leadership. And I'd just like to share just a couple of bullet points for you to look at when I talk. So, at the end of the day, what is self-leadership? In a nutshell, it's leading yourself. And I had this conversation with a lot of senior leaders around the place. It's the fact that you've got to lead yourself before you can lead others. And that's the critical aspect. It's like anything. And you're in a position here as young leaders, I would think, is to lead others, but to influence others. So it's one aspect of leadership that to me would be critical. You're trying to influence the youth to be better people, better versions of themselves, despite the challenges they may have currently in their lives. And to influence, for sure, you've got to be inspirational. You've got to be all these sorts of things. But the key is here: if you can't influence yourself, then it's very difficult to influence others. So that comes back to what I, in my very nice introduction, thank you, Akash, is that when I form soul-inspired leadership, it's just to put the emphasis on the fact that to lead yourself, that needs to come from within, not from without. Not on the outside of your life, it's from within you. And I'll talk a bit more about this as we go forward. There's one other thing too, If you guys want to, anyone wants to ask a question, just put a note that you've got a question. If it's critical to get it answered to the conversation, feel free to put it up and hopefully someone will see it, and I'm more than happy to answer it, or we can answer it at the end, depending, right? But I'm more than happy to answer questions. Right, so getting back to how we lead ourselves. For a start, you've got to take ownership of yourself. And that's key, is how do I do that, you might say? Well, taking ownership of yourself is what, in asking yourself, what sort of person do I want to be? Now, like any leader, I ask executives when I coach them, what type of executive do you want to be? What do you want to be known as if I ask someone else, so what's this person's leadership like? What do you want them to be saying? And so you've got to go within yourself to really answer that. You're not answering it from what you think may be the case, based on what everyone else's opinions are. What your skill teacher said, what your lecturer said, what your parents said. Yeah, that's an influence. That's data you need to collect. But the actual decision comes from within, where you decide, based on all that data, this is the type of leader I'm going to be. And then you write that description out. And once you start doing that, then you can start living that. But if you can't identify it, then you'll be just, a type of leader that bends in the breeze, whatever way they think that they need to be going. And that's not leading, that's just following. So that's the first thing to be doing. And given all your ages, this is a good time to be doing it. Sadly, it took me 40 years to work out that's what you need to be doing. But you guys are already showing leadership qualities by the mere fact that you're volunteering and trying to add value to other people's lives. That in itself is leadership. So then, once you then decide what you do, as I said, write it out. Don't just write something out, and you can do it intuitively. But don't just write it out ad hoc. Give it some thought. But I would tend to think whatever you tend to write out quickly will probably actually be the reality. If we try to overanalyze it, then we'll start crossing out, oh no, maybe I should be saying this. That's what's happened. Because your head's coming in now telling you what to do. But what comes up first quite often can be from within, and that's the key. If you know it's from within, that's what it is. That's the accurate description. So start with that to lead yourself, right? You need to understand the type of person I want to be known as. And then it comes, what impact do I want to have on people's lives? So that forms part of it. What impact do I want to have? And at the end of the day, I say that many times to leaders. So what impact do you want to have here with these people? What impact do you want to have with your employees? What's going to be your legacy? The day you retire or the day you leave this organisation, what legacy do you want to leave behind? So they're the types of questions that you start feeling about, because you start to feel, you start to feel good feelings. And it's the feelings that will drive you. So that's the one key thing, one key message over this whole session would be to do that. And if you can do that, then you'll start to see some of that manifesting in your life. Now, I'll give you an example. I was coaching a lady who was in her 40s, running a department of 100 staff, and I did some training and I was doing some coaching with her. And the issue was she had a terribly high turnover of staff. She was, I don't know whether they took votes, but she was virtually, the word around the the organisation. She's the worst leader of the organisation. She would say she wasn't very popular. She had really problems. She was heading a large accounting department and just had a lot of issues. I think 40% from memory turnover, which is diabolical every year. So she came to me and asked me, and I had this very conversation. Because see, the trouble was, up until now, she was leading the way she thought others expected her to lead. She was leading the way she thought, the way she was taught, in the way that she came from a background where parents were very ruled with an iron fist. So she thought that was the norm. And all sorts of issues, right? She just wasn't thinking through it. What she was just thinking it, not feeling it. So I told her to go away and actually write down the type of leader she'd like to be and what impact would she like to make and how does she want others to describe it. She came back with a list. I said, don't have 100 things. Narrow it down to at least, to a maximum of 10. So she gave us some good thoughts. She came back. She had a list of about 7 things she wanted to be described as. And I just looked her in the eye. I said, now go and live it. Just go and do it. It's nothing else. You said what you wanted to be and go and be it. And she did. She used to look at this list when she got up in the morning. She looked at the list when she got into her office. She looked at the list when she broke for coffee. Everything where she stopped and reflected and went down the list and then marked herself. Have I done enough today where people say, I'm doing this, I'm this type of leader? Whenever she felt that she wasn't, and she was a pretty hard marker, then she made an extra effort to retry. And then after about a week, which to me is another major breakthrough, she went and actually showed her staff. She sent it out in an email, showed every one of her 100 staff, this is the type of leader I want to be. So please tell me when I'm not living it. Now, not many people told her the first few days, but eventually she kept asking and 1 or 2 started to send back leaving notes. But they weren't going to own up who it was, but they started to leave notes to her and she started to get the message as well. And then she thanked people once she worked out who they were, not chastise them. And so then people started to give her more feedback. And 2 things happened there. She was starting to see the value of it because she's now engaging with her staff where before she couldn't. They didn't want to engage with her whatsoever. And secondly, if she faltered, they gave her slack. They cut her some slack because they could see she's trying to do the right thing. So anyway, to cut that long story short there, the fact is over a couple of months, she turned the whole department around from a high turnover to exceptionally low turnover. No one wanted to leave because they now have a leader who connects, who's trying so hard to be better at what they do. So that's just an example why I say you need to have some internal guide because see, deep down, that's what she wanted to be, but her head was telling her this is what you need to be because that's what she thought. But once she really found her desire from within, she could live it, and she did. So that's what I mean by self-leadership. Now, when we go on to, so again, she started looking at some other areas. She held herself accountable. She stopped blaming others, stopped saying, oh, it's their fault. Why are people leaving? Can't get any good staff. It's all her. I'm the problem, not the solution, I'm the problem. So it's when she held herself accountable, then things turned around. And that's part of self-leadership. You hold yourself accountable for your behaviours. The next thing she then looked at, what she could see is that part of the problem is how she reacted to whatever happened. Because then she really, in discussion, she could realise, well, I have a choice to act whatever way I want to act. That's another aspect of self-leadership. I don't act based on what's around me and how other people act. I'm going to act the way I want to act, the way I feel as though I need to be acting to live the life and be the person I want to be, because it is your choice. It's no one else's. People might try very hard in your life to influence you, and that's fine. You take it on as data. It's like any input, but that doesn't mean it's the answer. What comes from within will take on that data, but also will allow you to be you, which is the critical aspect. Another important aspect of self-leadership. You need to be you. Now, all the good leaders I've coached over the years, that's exactly what they do. They're actually themselves, and occasionally I get asked, well, isn't being, if I'm looking after myself, I'm thinking about myself all the time, isn't that being arrogant or self-centered? I say, look, quite often, not quite often, excuse me, when you're arrogant, you're actually comparing yourself to other people. That's arrogance, and you think I'm better than other people, so I'm going to do what I want to do. When you come from within, you don't do that. The soul inside. We got a bit of interference. Are you guys hearing any interference? Oh, that's gone. So look, when you come from within, it's always, to what I say, uninfluenced and sincere, which is the real you. Now, I don't know whether you've read much about leadership, but you'll find a lot of leadership buzzwords at the moment is being authentic, and that's exactly what it is. Authentic is being you. Sure, you take in everyone else's thoughts and opinions, but when you come from within, you automatically do that. So that's the key. It's a bit like you look at a well-tuned athlete, you see them in the Olympics, they may even come last, but what they'll tell you is, I beat my personal best. That's what they fight for. And if everyone goes in a race, for example, to beat the others, it's not it. They go into a race to beat their best time. If that best time happens to be beating others, that's great. But if you go into the race trying to beat others, it takes away your focus, because you're focusing and taking other energies of other people. It's not, you'll never win anything if you're worried about other people. You just do the best you can do. That's the key. The best you can do. And that's living the life that you want to live based from within. Not what you think you want to live, but what you feel as though you'd like to be and the impact you want to make. And that comes back to the next bit I talk about. It's inner and outer ego. And people so often say, they've got too much ego. And what that is, that's arrogance again. That's outer ego. That's the ego in your headspace, your thought processes. The inner ego is your inner strength. That's what drives people to get to where they want to go. That's what gives them the strength. That's what toughens you up, because it's coming from within. And you need that inner ego. If you don't have that, then you feel horribly insecure and you feel you're not worthy of anything. So the key is, and if you're helping young people now and the youth, that's one of the things you need to really connect with them. And you won't connect with their inner selves if you can't connect with your own. Once you can connect with your own inner self, you can best help these people, because without them actually connecting with the inner self, it's a hard road to make it. They've got to believe from within to actually make something of themselves. So that's something you need to be aware of and try to reach when you're reaching these young people. It's not telling them all the good stuff, what your head says. It's really connect with them to see what they really want. Get them to do the exercise of writing out the type of person they want to be. And a lot of them say, yeah, I'd like to be that person, but this, that, and the other, and that will happen. But get them to really believe what they want to do, and then that's what drives. As I said, it drives sports people, that they really believe in themselves. They can achieve something. That's why people achieve things way over the odds. Because if they listen to everyone else, they would never achieve it. Same with entrepreneurs. They build businesses where most people say, oh, you can't do that. You can't do this because of this reason or that reason. You just got to believe in yourself first. That's the key. That's what will drive you to get there. So it takes that inner strength to be able to do that. And what I say is ignore the outside noise. That's all the chatter from people saying you can't, you can, or whatever. You've got to believe it. And if people tell you you can, and in your heart says, I don't think I can, then you're right. You won't. Doesn't matter how many people tell you, unless you believe within, it won't happen. Now, a lot of successful CEOs I've worked with who've got a vision to do something that's out of the ordinary or take a risk. That's why they're there. That's what entrepreneurs do. They take risks. So all of them don't believe it's a risk because from within, it's telling them, I can do this. It's not a risk. I know I can do it. Some other people say it's a risk. So you start listening to them all and ignoring yourself, then they're right. It's self-fulfilling prophecy. It won't happen. Now, other things to do is taking time out for yourself to be able to reflect that you're actually on track. Successful leaders do this. All the ones I deal with, they always take time out for themselves. And it's usually on a daily basis. It doesn't have to be long. It can be 5 or 10 minutes. Just you can do some meditation and do that. Bit of mindfulness. Just take time out away from all the outside noise in a way and go within and just connect with your inner self. All good leaders do it. So if all good leaders do it, then it must have some value. And I can tell you it does. And you may not believe me, just keep doing it and you'll find over time if this actually works. Once you go within, it then strengthens you up again. It's that core inner strength. Now, what I'm going to talk about. Oh, to get to that space sometimes, I'll give a little exercise. I don't know what that line is. Anyway, it's what they call a little finger exercise. It's something to remember. Now, if you're sitting in a meeting or wherever you are and you're starting to get a bit emotional and want to react to something, quite often your head space is what reacts first, right? And the emotion comes up, it draws up an emotion to have you bellow out or respond to an argument with a corresponding argument. In other words, if someone's upset with you, quite often humans then become upset with them. It's just a reciprocal. Whatever way someone's acting, you'll respond and act the same way. Good leaders don't. They react the way they want to be reacted, not the way other people react. Now, if you've ever done any customer service training, that's one thing they treat customer service managers and officers that never react the way the client is. If the customer's yelling at you, you don't yell back. But it's an automatic thing you want to do, but they teach you to be circumspect, etc. One of the ways of doing it is take your left hand, take your right hand and hold your little finger in your left hand. Now your little finger on both hands actually connects with your heart line. So if you want to relax, you could be sitting in a lecture or anywhere you want to relax, you get a bit pulled up here and you want to be calm, too much around me, just sit there and hold your little finger. And just try and relax, and it will help you unwind and relax a lot more. So that's the little finger exercise. There again, I've had some very senior executives sitting in board meetings, wanting some way to yell at someone, sitting there with their hands under the table holding a little pinky, because they find that that's the best way of them not to be saying something they'll regret later on. And we've all been in that situation. So just little things that help you get there, little tricks. Now, getting back to being an influencer, because I would think what you people do is you're trying to influence in a positive way the youth. Now, the key to influencing them is to understanding each and every individual that you're dealing with. It's not one size fits all. To influence them, you need to get at their level, and you need to understand what's driving them. Now, take our brain, right? It's a computer. Now, you all know that whatever you put in, whatever data you feed into the computer, or whatever program you feed in, data into the program, that defines the output. Change a bit of data and the output will change. So you all know that, right? Well, the key is when you're dealing with people, they haven't had the same programming and data go into their computer as you've had into yours. So all too often we get a bit carried away and throw our opinion in a way of trying to influence someone from our data, from our way of thinking, to them who have different data in their head, and they won't see it. They might nod, yes, I get that, but they don't really. And they go away and do something else. So the key is you've got to understand that and then break it down to starting to find out what data has gone into their thinking. So you get that by asking questions. So tell me, what sort of drives you to feel that way? What's happened in your life that you have that? And I'm not judging how you feel. You don't say judgmental words. I'm curious. Not why do you feel that way? It's just like it's more of a, I'm curious. So tell me, how do you derive at that sort of thought? Like, what drove that feeling? And then shut up and wait for the answer. And the answer could often be in body language. It's like head goes down, not going to say anything. So yeah, you look a bit sad. So I'm happy to be sad with you. Like, tell me about it. Right? See, that's connecting, and the more you connect at a deeper level, then you start to understand what's driving that person. Once you connect at that level, they'll start listening to you more, and then you're in a better position to influence them and bring them to where you want them to be in their thought process. It's got to come from within first. I hope that makes sense. It takes a bit of patience, but you take more time in getting to really understand that person, saves you a lot of time later on of repeating what you're saying, and, oh, they haven't done that yet, I wonder why, blah, blah, blah. I mean, that's a common thing I do and say with executives when I'm coaching them. Spend an extra 10 minutes connecting with this person, then you'll save hours later on. So it's investing the time with those people. That's being the influencer. As I said, just to confirm that, you need to connect with them and find out what is actually are the drivers of what they're saying. It's the only way you're ever going to actually help them. And part of also, when we get back to self-leadership, they've all understood the word reciprocity, right? So, which I mentioned before, if you're in a mood, people quite often reflect that mood. They subconsciously do it. The key is you've got to consciously be aware that you want to be there. Those people are a reflection of you, not you a reflection of them. And that becomes, and what's another leadership attribute is you need to have empathy. And that's understanding where those people are coming from but at the same time not being emotionally involved in where they're coming from, if you know what I mean. So if I'm being sympathetic, I'm more emotionally connected with them. So if they're crying, I'm crying as well. That's sympathy. In empathy, for leaders, yes, I understand your pain, but I need to consciously help this person, because if I had the same emotion as they're having, I'm not going to be any help. How can I pull them out of their feeling into mine and feeling stronger if I'm feeling the same way? So that's the other part, is I need to have the empathy, not the sympathy. So I really need to understand them, but at the same time, I want them to be a reflection of me, which is going to help them be a better person, drag them out of whatever they're in, not me be a reflection of them. So getting back to the feelings again, if I asked you, let's say we talk about an event that might have happened 3, 4, 5 years ago, you'll recall it how you felt. You won't recall how you were thinking at the time. You tend to, so there again, that's getting back to the fact that feelings are part of them. So you're remembering how you felt, that's the emotion. So when you have issues up front, the key is to learn from any adversity, and any adversity comes along, and they will come along and continue to come along for the whole of your life. It's about getting back to that attitude, as I said. What do I got? I've got a problem here. Okay, what can I learn from it? Not, oh, pitiful me, why did this happen to me? There's every chance in reality it happened to you because you need to learn from it. And all good leaders learn from things that happen in their life. They don't blame those things. They don't think, I wish that didn't happen. It's more about what can I learn from it? It's happened, so therefore, what can I learn so I can actually build on it and add value to myself from that circumstance. Now that's, I just had a conversation this morning with a team of executives where out of 10 of them, 4 won't have a job in about a month because of the COVID situation. They've got to downsize a little bit because they're just not making the money, right? Quite as much. So rather than all sit around and blame each other or say this shouldn't be happening, they're all looking at what can I put in, what can I really do to add value while I'm still here, because they want to go away with a good legacy with the organisation and a mindset that helps them then bounce onto some other role somewhere else. So again, that's consciously thinking, how do I want to react? What leader do I want to be? One who reflects the environment or one who actually influences the environment? And that's what they all were saying. We've got influence, we've got to do this. We don't know which one of the 10, which 4 of the 10 are going. We've got a good idea, but we don't really know yet. We haven't determined. But they're all committed to, I'm adding value. I'm going to do what I can do, and I'm going to learn as much as I can learn from doing that. Because one of them said to me later, because they think they've got a great chance of being one of them who's going to lose their job, is they want to be able to add value wherever they go. And they want them there again, the impact. They want to be able to get a job where they can use where they are now as an example. If they achieve this, and this, despite having the fact that they're not going to have a job hanging over them all the time. So that's what they're building on. They're trying to create an advantage out of that adversity. Because that's a differentiator if they're trying to get a job and competing with someone else. But they've been through this and they've come out still looking okay and with a positive attitude. Those types of things. There again, that's a growth mindset, not a fixed mindset. That's saying, what can I learn? How can I get better? And these are the questions when you're having that reflection. daily or weekly when you go to yourself, hold your little pinky and do whatever you need to do to relax. Meditating, then do that. The key is, how can I get better? And that's not saying I need to get better because I'm no good. That's no inner ego. That's just insecurity. It's I'm doing a pretty damn good job, but I know I can always improve. And for all my life, I'll be improving. Because at no point in your life do you hit a static point to say, yes, I'm the best person I'm ever going to be. There again, all good leaders will tell you they're always learning. So they're always learning, always getting some value. That's the humility that they have. It's not, yeah, I know all that, don't need to listen. It's what can I gain, what little gem what little nugget can I gain out of that? So they're the types of questions you could keep asking yourself. Right, what else I'd say? Also, sorry about my cough. Also, when you're in that inner self again, that's your most creative spot. That's where creativity comes from. It emanates from within. So any people who are creative artists, all go within to come up with something. They write a song, it tends to come from within, and the tune comes from within. They can't explain it, but they just say it comes. So that's your creative gene. So when you're trying to create new ideas, create visions, thoughts as a leader, it will come from within. Because if it comes with all the data from your headspace, that's just known environmental data around you. So you never can be the first of doing anything. So when Steve Jobs set up his business originally, it all come from within. If it comes from his headspace, it means that there's existing data around, which means someone else has already done it. I can't be first. Someone's done it. So I've got the data. So a lot of this stuff that is new, it comes from within. That's the creative element of the human. So keep that in mind as well. It's going to improve your creativity. So if you want to sit there and be thinking of creative ideas or whatever role you have, again, relax, let it come within, and it will appear. And there's one thing I just want to finish on before I can open some questions, is true leaders internalise and lead within to lead out. They internalise the information, they go in, and out it comes, then they lead out. Because at the end of the day, your soul really is the vision. Your headspace is the tactics. That's day-to-day tactics. But the real journey of your life has to come from within. Now, I just wanted to open up to does anyone have any questions? I'll stop this.
Yes.
Right. I'll just stop the share so I can see everyone. So yes, fire away. What?
Sir, I have a question,
Yeah.
if you don't mind. First of all, thank you for the session. It was really informative. We often forget that self-leadership is so important to us, aside from just the leadership as a whole. So my question is, personally, I believe there's a lot of competitiveness going on, especially with the youth, college students, working individual, young professional entrepreneurs, to be a leader, to stand out, to be a team leader, to be an executive, to be the boss sort of thing. So in terms of this competitiveness that's going around and everyone wants to be at a higher stage, be at a leader's position. What do you have to say on this? How can we improve it or tackle it for students or young individuals?
And Mika, look, I can understand that, and I apologise for not making that point, because when people your age, it tends to be very competitive. You're trying to establish yourself in life, trying to compete with jobs, etc., and still doing study, trying to compete with other students. And that's all headspace, but that's the way you're brought up. I mean, that's the way everyone's sort of, the education system, it tends to work that way. It makes people compete, which stimulates, the competitiveness does stimulate. But at the end of the day, what I'm saying is that the real stimulation is from within. So if I want to be I want to be the best student in this group, that's okay, but it's not going to drive you at the end of the day. What will drive you to be the best student is what standard of student do I want to be? What do I really want to be? Because the best student mightn't be so hot if they're all not so good students, right? It doesn't mean you're going to be perfect. It's like I'm racing against these 6 people in the race, right? If they're all slow, it's no big deal if I win. So why am I competing against these slow people, right? I need to compete for myself. I want to get sub 10 second 100 metre dash. That's what I'm competing against, not to be the winner so much. But I know if I do that, I will win. But at the end of the day, that's what's driving me. Because usually you have well, not usually, what you're trying to get is that your standard is within yourself is a high standard. Because when you set down what impact I want to make, I would think you're not saying I want to make just a social impact. I want to be known as, the person, did all right. Like, you won't be saying that necessarily, right? So you're always going to be saying, and saying I want to be the best leader in the world, that's probably not achievable because it's too subjective. You ought to set your objectives. This is what I'm going to stand for as a leader, and then you just go and live it. Whether someone calls you the best leader in the world, that's nice, but it's not the end game. The end game is I've achieved what I wanted to do in my leadership capabilities. I've achieved what I wanted to do, and I'm still achieving because I know I can always get better. As I get older, I get faced with different scenarios, so therefore I've got to learn how to deal with those scenarios. So I'm always getting better. But the mere fact that someone calls me a good leader, that's nice. It's good. It shows I'm on the right track, but it's not, oh, well, I can stop now. I go around and be a nasty leader now. I've already achieved it. Like, there's no point. Does that answer your question? But
yes.
I know what you're saying.
Yes,
when
sir,
people
yes,
keep pushing better, you may be, but you come up with what you want first. And that's what will be the key driver at the end of the day.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your answer.
Yeah, a bit there. Like, if you're dealing with on your head saying, I want to be the best here or this, then some other little bit of information comes in, it means you can change track because of the new information. Because you're just listening to all the data, right? As I said, bit more data in the computer, another output, another answer. But when it comes from within, you're not going to deviate so easily. You don't give up as easily because it's driving you from within. That's why Olympians get to the Olympics. They don't give up halfway through saying, oh, this training's too hard. They keep going because there's no outside data going to stop them.
Yes, sir, I agree. Thank you, sir. It's important that, we think about ourselves first, and when we do, the outside world will be taken care of. So,
you're right. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Any other questions, guys? Got a little bit of time. 5 or 8 minutes. Who's facing a challenging situation at the moment with some of the people you're helping? Any particular challenges or?
Is anyone having any questions to ask from sir?
Yes, Amar. Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah.
My name is Arshi and I am a student. I will be graduating this year. And my question to you, sir, is that as a person who's just got into leadership or who started handling a team, how do we ensure more commitment from our team members? How can we as a leader ensure more commitment or gain more commitment from the team?
Well, you don't tell them to be committed. You discuss, there again, as a team, what are we going to be known as? How do we want people to describe this team? And let them come up with how they want to be described as a team. So they'll come up with several things. This is what we want to be described as. Okay, if that's it, what do we got to do for that description to happen? So that's a good question, because I say that, I get asked that quite regularly with executives. We're just taking over a team, we're doing it. How do I get buy-in? I said, well, you can't tell them to buy in. You've got to want them to be being and living in, right? So the keys, do a workshop, get a think tank, and just write up on the whiteboard, right? Or at the moment, write on paper and show it up on Zoom. What do we want to be known as? Now, you don't want 100 things, but you isolate it down, and you got, sorry about this, dry throat. Then you out of those several things you want to be described as, what are the key behaviours? What are the key things we've got to say or do that actually will enable people then to say, yes, they're this, they're that, they're that. Because a description is just a subjective opinion based on what you're doing. So what have we got to do to then be described as this? That makes sense, but you've got to get them to be telling you. Otherwise, they won't own it. So once they, now, and if what they're saying is a load of rubbish, you don't say it's a load of rubbish, guys. You say, ask them a question. So you're saying this. Have you considered this option? Because the key, you don't want to be telling them, because then they go, okay, whatever you say, Darcy. So you go away happy, but they won't do it because they don't live it, they don't breathe it, right? They're just doing it because you said so. That's why you don't offer the opinion, you draw out of them by asking questions. That where the answer is what you wanted. So rather than tell you, this is what I want, you ask a question where the answer that they're telling me is roughly what I want. That's what good leaders do. They ask the best questions. They draw out of people, always drawing out of people. And therefore I can be saying, actually, well, you were telling me the other day you want to do this and this. How are you going? So even though I might have influenced you and but you told me, right? And so therefore your commitment to it's a lot stronger than if I just told you I want you to do this and this today. That makes sense?
Yes.
Good. So that's just leadership skills, I guess. And I'll tell you now, the best leaders ask the best questions. The best leaders who communicate the best are the best listeners, not the best speakers.
Okay, thank you so much, sir.
Any other questions?
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Good afternoon, sir. So, first of all, great session, sir. And second of all, I wanted to ask that what are the key points that separates a leader from a manager? I mean,
That's actually it's funny. I say that a lot of times. So, do you want to be manager of a process or a leader?
no, not exactly.
That's exactly what it is, right? So, and I know what you're saying. A manager manages a process. So the focus is not on the people; it's on the process. And they just happen to be using people to get the process, whatever that process is, right? But a leader focuses on the people equally as on the result.
Okay.
A leader of balance, they basically doesn't have to be 50-50, but, you know, within reason, that the focus, let's say 50-50 for argument's sake, 50% of my time and more is on the people, and yes, I've got to be held accountable for business, so therefore I've got to put some focus on the result. Because if all the emphasis is on the people, I'd be the nicest boss and the greatest boss in the world, but we never would get anywhere, right? And if the emphasis is too much on the process, you're probably going to be a micromanager. All these issues, all you're trying to focus on is getting the job done. But what you've got to realise as a leader, that the only way you get things to happen is all through people. So people are the ones that make things happen. The process does not happen without people. So it's the people you've got to really generate, put the fire under, motivate to get things to happen. The people right and the process will more likely happen. It doesn't work the other way. It might work briefly, And to be rule with an iron fist, but it's not sustainable. So in a case, let me give an example. If the building you're in is burning down, we all listen to what the fire warden says. The person on the floor, the fire person on that floor, tells you where to go and what to do. That's when a leader can be autocratic. Why? Because we've got a disaster and we don't have time to sit here and debate about it. We're just doing what we need to be doing. The military do the same. But the military, one thing that they brought to the equation after that, they realised they can only act that in time of battle. Other times, you've got to be more collaborative and more understanding to grow your soldiers. Because if people are waiting around for what someone has to say, it's because you're autocratic and you're a micromanager. As soon as you go outside and something happens, they'll sit there and wait for you to come back in and tell them. That is not competitive in any stretch of the imagination. You want people to roll along with it, there or not. And one of the key executives in one of the senior companies, big global companies I work with, he will say to know when he's made it as a good leader is the day he looks at himself and says, I think I'm redundant. So I don't have to do anything. I've got people so developed now they can do it. They just do it. All I need to sit back here is reflect and think about the vision. I don't have to do anything else. I mean, that's easy in a large company of 60,000 employees globally. Can't be in a small company of 3 people. You've got to do a lot more work. But the key is you've got to remember that you've got employees. What can you get done through those people? And the more they work, the more you'll get done. So you develop your people, you develop the business. If you don't develop the people, the business will not develop. It will never happen. That answer your question?
Yeah, thank you so much, sir.
So I have a lot of questions for you, sir.
Yeah.
This is Akash here. So the first question is that I want to ask is what are the most difficult decisions to make as a leader?
The most difficult decisions? Depends on the context. But yeah, as a general rule, the most difficult decisions usually involve people. At the end of the day. Other difficult decisions involve spending a lot of money and the fact that everyone else around you is saying that's probably shouldn't be the way to go, but you're going to stick to it because your gut's telling you there. It can only be your gut because if your head was saying, it would be reflecting what everyone else is saying. But that's why you're the leader. And that's why some people, entrepreneurs, are the first at doing something in business. They're not following the pack. They just believe in what they're going to be doing. So it depends on the context and what the most difficult decision is. And everyone, see, what's difficult for someone is not difficult for someone else. So that's why this can't be categorised too easily. Because what you might find easy to do, others might find that damn difficult. And that's another thing as a leader to understand that what seems sensible and easy to you may not be sensible and easy to someone else based on the way their lives come up and their program judge people. They just assess them to see where the strengths and weaknesses are. The weaknesses I can just help them, the strengths I can just build on and utilise that. But I don't judge them. As soon as you call someone a name or this or that, that's a judgment. And good leaders don't they assess. So difficult decisions, to answer that, there is no answer because a difficult decision could be, it's like, I don't know, let's say before you started school, the fact you could say 5 + 5 = 10, that might have been difficult, 4 years of age. But a couple of years later, that's not difficult. It's very damn simple, isn't it? So that's, and everyone's at a different stage in their life where things are simple and things are difficult. That answer your question, but not answer it.
Yes, sir, I got
Hello?
my answer to this question.
Hello?
So the other question that I want to ask is about how do we measure our success as a leader?
So I didn't quite catch that one. How do you measure?
How do we measure our success as a leader? Like as we have become a leader, so how do we know like whether we are succeeding becoming a leader or not? So how do we measure that?
Well, first you start the exercise, what do I want to be as a leader? And then to measure it, you ask for feedback. So again, all good leaders openly ask for feedback and can give good feedback, right? So that's another good attribute of a leader. You openly ask. Not everyone's tuned or programmed to be delivering feedback, particularly if it's constructive. In other words, it's not something I think you want to hear. So I'll say, oh, no, you're going all right, you're going all right. That doesn't help. So if they're saying that, then what you'd say is, oh, thanks for that. If I could do one thing better, what would it be? So they're now more likely to have to tell you something. And I say, oh, I don't think there's anything better. You mean I'm 100% perfect? Sure, there's something I could work on at least. So there again, you're putting more pressure on me to give you something. Then I might say, oh, well, Akash, well, yeah, blah, 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 you should be doing, you could probably improve by doing this. I've got the feedback. So there again, asking good questions. Ask a vague question, you'll get a vague answer. But it's a more curiosity body language, not a, tell me, what do you think here? Like, whoa, you're so curious. Oh, I'd like to know type attitude where I think, oh, less pressure than if I do tell you, he's just curious, right? Not that he needs to know, and I'm in trouble if I get the wrong. That reminds me of school. So therefore, I'm either right or wrong, so I won't tell you. But a just curious face, and you can just say, I'm just curious. Then I'm more likely to say, okay, I'll tell you. So they're the types of things. And I go back to good leaders and ask good questions. So think through what you want to ask before you do it. Who you want to ask and how do you want to ask. That's no different with all the youth you're working with that ask good questions, curious questions. And they think, oh, he's interesting. He's curious. Not he's asking me to tell me something. No, he's curious. He wants to know more about me. There again, getting back to the empathy.
Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, that answer it too? Any other questions?
Anamika, are you having any questions?
So I actually want to add something to Akash's point. A few years ago, one of my mentors said that if you want to know if somebody's a good leader, you shouldn't ask them, you should ask their members, you should ask their team. If you want to know if somebody's a good doctor, you should ask the patients and the people they're working with. If you want to know if you're a good teacher, you should ask the students. So in terms of that, is it, is that a way of measuring if you're a good leader or not?
It is, and that's a good question because I should have probably confirmed that as well. So when I'm assessing an executive, before I start working with them, I need to get their perspective, but I'm teaching them the habit to get that feedback themselves. But in order for me to work with someone, I need to get that data. Ask their staff, ask their peers, ask their boss. It's just a whole level, different levels of people. Ask people two levels down, how do they find them? So you've got to get that big picture. So I agree that that's spot on. That's the first way of me working with people. But for you to be a self-leader, then you need to get in the habit of trying to get feedback. As I said, it can be more difficult, but once you get in the habit, it becomes a bit easier, and then you start to see what the way you need to be and act to get the best result. Then you can start doing that. It just helps to keep you on track at this stage. As you grow and develop and you're leading teams, yes, sure, very important. Get the feedback on all levels.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Oh, looks like that.
Oh. So is anyone having any questions? Okay. So sir, we are done with the question answer round.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Akash? Akash Jaipal?
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Is anyone having any question?
Cash? Yeah.
Yeah,
Ma'am,
I
may I
just
ask?
wanted to ask.
Yeah,
Okay,
Arshi.
yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, sir.
Akash, just hold on, please. Arshi is having some question. Yeah, Arshi, please carry on.
Yeah. Is there anybody else who wants to ask? You can go ahead.
Arshi, please go ahead.
Okay. So I'd just like to take up Akash's question again. When he asked that what are the difficult decisions that a leader has to make, I somewhat come across this one difficult decision that is difficult according to me, is that there are times when now I would also include the concept of, efficient working along with leadership and then delegation as well. So there are times when we have delegated a task to one of our team members, and then there is at the back of your mind, you know that it is not being done properly. And you also know that if you yourself take up the task and do it, it's going to be done much efficiently and, faster. But at the same time, you don't want to take that task away from them because they might feel bad about it. So that point of time, you're in a dilemma. What should you do? Whether you should think about the task. Ultimately, the task is going to be done by them, but it is going to take more time and probably wouldn't be done perfectly. So at that point of a time, what as a good leader should do?
Well, a good leader should do that. And you're right. So you're smart enough to realise that you just want to take over the task. If you keep taking over the task, they'll never grow and develop to get better at it. And conversely, you'll be working 100 hours a week, 100 hours a day. You physically can't do it all, right? So the key is, if you go and poke your nose in and try to offer help or offer what to do, you can be seen as a micromanager. Right? So the key is you just need to, there again, connect with people. So let's say it's me. Say, tell me, Ross, how are you getting on with X, Y, Z, right? What stage are you at, and what's your plan for the next 2 days to whatever it is, right? To complete it, right? Okay. So now again, then shut up and listen. Now I've got to tell you something. Now, if what I'm telling you doesn't seem to be on the right track, you can say, okay, have you considered this way? Or if it's worse than that, well, that can be okay. The impact of that could be this, which is not, whatever that could be a negative impact, obviously, right? So it means I don't understand the impact. So you're just telling me the impact. So that's probably going to cause that to happen. So can you think of any other ways to do this? Again, you're putting it back to me, but you've told me what the impact is. And it's like any feedback that you give, you always need to tell people what the impact is. If you just say, oh, that's probably not a good way, have you considered this way? I don't know why it's not a good way yet, so therefore I still think that's a good way. But if you say, well, if you do that, what's going to happen? Someone's going to fall over the cliff over there, whatever it is, right? Oh, I didn't realise that, so therefore they understand that. So, okay, I need to listen. Once they understand impact, that's how you can change people. And it's like anything, if you're trying to give them good feedback, tell them the impact that whatever they did, what positive impact that's going to make. Not just, well, you did a good job, well done. It's no, when you did that, this happened, and this is reality, this is what happened, right? So thanks for that. This is the value you added. Then they go, then they want to do it more because everyone wants to have impact, positive impact. They don't want negative impact. Does that answer the question?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Oh, very quiet again. Any more questions?
Any more question, friends? Okay, so I think we are done with the questions. Anjali, can you please take it forward?
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us and giving us this insightful session. The question answer and your presentation was very insightful for us, and we learned a lot. So we are very grateful for you, grateful to you for taking out time and joining us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And it was good, guys. Asked some really good questions. It shows your thinking, and they're good leadership questions. So that's the important thing. Good substance behind the questions. So well done. So my pleasure helping, and happy to help at another point in the future. So thanks for asking me.
Thank you so much, sir.
Okay. See you later, guys. Enjoy
Bye.
your afternoon. Enjoy your afternoon.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.
Bye, sir.
Thank you, sir.